Oh, fun.
Once upon a time, there was a world full of laughter. Then a virus hit, and the whole thing was a disaster. But we got a show to let you know it's alright. It's alright. Even though it's only once a week, we guarantee you a front row seat at the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show once a week.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Comedy Cellar Nightly Show premiere episode of 2021. I hope everybody had such a happy new year. My name is Dave Juskow, and I will be bringing you this show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on the Comedy Cellar Nightly YouTube channel. Greetings to everybody, and again, we all have our chat room. If you feel like donating, we would appreciate that if you're enjoying the show, and quite frankly, if you're not enjoying the show, please donate as well. Before I introduce our lovely guest this evening, let's open with the
go ahead.
With the prepared monologue material. This is a talk show, so we have to open the monologue. So,
wait, Dave.
Yes, what is
Can I just say something because I'm not gonna be able to sit through the monologue otherwise?
Yeah.
The donations don't go to the Comedy Cellar. They go to whoever that you give. They go to Juskow and friends and whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want people to think that Go ahead.
Well, anybody that's been watching the show since September, they know that. But yeah, sorry. Yes, it's for me.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
and our producer. All right, now let me begin with the prepared monologue jokes.
Sorry.
The New Year's Eve ball dropped in Times Square. It was very different this year. They replaced the ball with a ring light. President Trump is under fire for pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State to change the presidential election result. But in his defense, he thought he was talking to an official from Georgia, the former Soviet Republic. Larry King, who had been hospitalized with COVID, was released this weekend. His most recent ex-wife said it's the first release he's had in 12 years. How are you? Hey-ho! All right. Well, with that out of the way, let me introduce our guest this evening. His book entitled Overstated, a Coast-to-Coast Roast of the 50 States is available on Amazon and everywhere else you buy books, which is an extension of sorts to his very successful off-Broadway play, Red State, Blue State, which is currently streaming on Netflix. This summer, he put together a drive-in comedy show with all of our Comedy Cellar friends right here in New York City, appropriately entitled Colin Quinn and Friends, a Parking Lot Comedy Show, which he also directed and is available on HBO Max. Please welcome Colin Quinn, everybody.
Woo!
Hello, Colin.
Hi, guys.
He is the owner of the Comedy Cellar and co-host of the popular Live from America podcast. He also co-hosts the Live from the Table podcast and radio show, which you can hear weekly on the Raw Dog station on Sirius XM. Please welcome Noam Dworman, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
And then, of course, I can list his accomplishments, but he's going to be on every week and doing a musical number for us all the time. It's the amazing Colin Smith is here.
Woo!
To sing a little song later in the program. Hello, Colin. I know you were having internet problems today, but you're okay then, right?
I am. They persist in some degree, but it's fine. We're making a fist of it. It's fine. Yeah.
So I'll begin with Colin Quinn. What did you? How was your New Year's? It's a strange New Year's.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's really the way to start off the show. It's has anyone done anything? I mean, you could not ask a question that's going to get less interesting answers than how was your New Year's during COVID?
Well, some people actually did stuff. I mean, I was.
But I danced with Bill de Blasio in Times Square.
Oh man, just seeing him there pressing that button made me so angry. As I'm sure
it was almost like he was trolling people by doing that.
Yeah, I really would have. If I was him, I think I would have gotten somebody. I would have called Tom Hanks and told him to press the button, like anybody but me. Maybe I'll stand on the side.
Anyway, yeah.
What about you, Noam? You just hung out with Outside Steve?
Yeah, Outside Steve was here, and he's Inside Steve now. And
that's right.
My wife, we actually had a friend of ours who quarantined for 8 days and then took a test on the day of New Year's Eve and came over.
Are you sure you're not talking about Passover?
Yeah, I'm sure. So we had a little, and then we have Periel, who I do my show with. She's in a bubble too. So we actually had some company. It was fun. The kids that was the first time they stayed up and had the countdown for New Year's Eve and all that kind of
That's
stuff.
nice.
So it was fun. I got lucky.
Well, me too. There was a whole show of a night of just nanny episodes. It was
Oh,
really.
I thought you meant you also got lucky with my wife.
Yeah, that's a good way to start the show. No, but yeah, it really was a very strange. I usually don't watch the ball drop at all because I don't. I'm usually at home or we're at the Cellar, So the one good thing about nobody being there this year was there was absolutely no fear of missing out on anything. So that was pretty good. I mean, Colin
That's a good
Smith,
point.
you're in North Carolina, right? What do they do down there on New Year's?
I don't know. I'm staying at a friend's place, and everybody was in bed before midnight.
Well,
So-
folks, you heard it here first. When a musician goes to bed before midnight on New Year's, the world has fallen apart.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
how we judge everything.
Yeah, I was in fairness, I was in bed at about honestly around 9:30 or 10, and then I kind of woke up a little later. I said, I think I'll go downstairs, watch the telly for watch Don Lemon or something at midnight or whatever it was. And, it was just great.
Did you see J-Lo was performing on New Year's Rockin' Eve? It was really disturbing for me. I don't appreciate her very much, and quite frankly, I was going through the channels to see what they were like, and on NBC they had a commercial at 11:59. I mean, that's the prime getting ready to go. I just don't understand their reasoning. And the best actually was CNN, because you have Anderson Cooper and who's that guy that does the other.
Andy Cohen,
the two gay guys interviewing Mariah Carey. That's perfect.
Right.
That's exactly where everything should be.
Now I read about it. That guy Andy Cohen, he went off on De Blasio for dancing. Is that right?
Is that
yeah,
true?
Good.
yeah. He goes, do something with this city.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, obviously everybody kind of can't stand him, but I feel like it's I don't know, Noam, you know this kind of stuff. Is it his fault or is it the governor's fault?
I get the feeling that both of them, and a lot of politicians, it's been so long since a politician got elected and he actually had to worry about doing anything like having to be responsible and judgment and making decisions and like Bloomberg was mayor for 12 years. And remember one time he didn't clear the streets well, and that was a big thing. And all of a sudden, Cuomo and De Blasio are so fucking exposed for the empty suits that they are. I mean, have you been reading about the vaccine debacle? They can't figure out. They had 8 months to contemplate the one thing they were going to have to do, which was to distribute the vaccine. And they're like, we don't know how to do it. They have no idea.
And the worst part is that Florida's doing an amazing job of it. We were all mocking them early on.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, and apparently the private hospitals are doing okay, but the city hospitals haven't been able to distribute more than 50% of their vaccine, and it goes bad. And I saw a tweet I thought was really funny. It says, why does anybody think the government can do anything? They can't even keep drugs out of prisons. And I thought, that's actually like you have what is more of a total dictatorial control than a prison? Nothing goes in and nobody has any rights. There's nothing. And still they're filled with drugs. So I thought that was a good analogy.
Well, in the movie Goodfellas, we know that's how they make their living in there. And what are they supposed to do? They're all alone. Cameron, I told you it was going to be like this.
Do you think?
By the way,
do you think maybe Cuomo shouldn't have written that Mission Accomplished book that he wrote like 3 months ago? Jackass.
Colin Quinn, what were you going to say?
That was great. No, it's gone. I don't want to say it now.
I was hoping it was.
It's like if Keith wrote a book, how to get. No, I can't do
it.
No.
Hey, don't go for clickbait.
All right. Well, let's start the multimedia presentation today. This was this New Year's.
Whoa.
Completely empty. Like, what's the point of putting all this together? Somebody's got to clean it up. This is like when they do the football games and they come out to smoke and everything and nobody's there.
What's the point of it when it is crowded on New Year's? It's been pointless my whole life. I used to bartend on 52nd Street and in Midtown a couple of years on New Year's Eve. It was literally, there were gangs. This is like in the 80s, you know. There was violent. It was the most psychotic thing you've ever seen. It was anarchy. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I say that as a grandmother.
Well, that's the problem. I went there, you know, I feel like everybody's got to go there once. I went there once in the 80s and it was, I think that's the only time you can go. You got to be young because, you know, there's no pee breaks and everything.
You should have stopped by the bar.
The only time I went was I played it with Christina Aguilera 2 years ago. It was the only time I went.
Wow.
I was like, all right, this is the way I'll go.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it, right? Exactly.
What the hell?
But even then it was like, no.
This is do you know what this is?
Sure.
It's
Parasite?
yeah, it's the movie Parasite. Remember the big deal it was like almost a year ago? And we totally forgot about that movie. I think it won Best Picture, right?
It did, yeah.
It's the kind of stuff you just forget about after all this. And this is how we started the new year. With goddamn J-Lo and the awesome Shakira. And this is how we ended the goddamn new year. What the hell is so great about J-Lo? That's her singing an Aerosmith song. That ain't right.
Well, Dave, maybe you're not reading the room. None of us want to weigh in on J-Lo. She's not a controversial figure. Nobody cares.
Well, I don't know. I care.
Also, four older white guys just chiming in on J-Lo's relevance. I don't know.
Yeah. Not only that, but Colin worked with Christina Aguilera. He's probably friends with J-Lo.
Oh, that's probably.
We're all going to text after this.
I'll take the hit. This McDonald's is coming out with, I like putting pictures of food on. McDonald's is coming out with a crispy chicken sandwich so they can compete with Chick-fil-A. As you can see here, it's got pickles and chicken. Now here's the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. As you see, the pickles are on the bottom. So McDonald's is really going for it all by making a new twist on the chicken sandwich. This is the deluxe McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich. It has tomatoes and lettuce. And as again, you can see Chick-fil-A puts a piece of cheese and the stuff at the bottom. This is a spicy chicken sandwich. What?
You're acting like Chick-fil-A came up with the chicken sandwich to begin with.
Well,
it's not exactly intellectual property theft. First of all, more important is the McDonald's around the corner from the Cellar closed. I've been getting a lot of Twitter action of people who have memories of that McDonald's.
For real?
Yeah. The one right next to Fat Black closed.
Yeah, it closed for good?
I don't know.
And people are tweeting memories about the McDonald's.
People are saying that place was psychotic. I saw my first OD there. I saw my first gang fight there. Yeah.
Well, that's completely true. That place was sick. I don't. Out of all the McDonald's I go to, I don't think I've ever been in that one. I'll choose anywhere else. That place was awesome. This is the Popeyes fried chicken sandwich. Now that is a good-looking sandwich.
That's supposed to be great. I have never had one.
Too fried.
I don't know.
No, you're saying that because you have that constantly piped in your ear from your friend Harry.
Well, Harry also, but you read about. I mean, they can't even keep them in the stores.
They can't keep people they fight over them. Yeah, that's how delicious they are.
It looks good.
Whoa!
This is Colin's new book, Overstated.
Yeah. Hey.
It looks awesome. It's a roast of all the 50 states. I don't particularly care for what you said about New Jersey, but so be it. It is.
I said nice thing. I said New Jersey. What do they expect?
That's true.
It's such a great cover.
Yeah, great cover. Really great cover. Here's Colin performing on the HBO Max show, on the drive-in show, with an amazing background.
Can you believe that background?
It looks like it's Photoshopped.
Yeah.
You know, I opened for Jim Gaffigan over the summer in one of those car shows. What did you think of them? That it was awkward, right? Everybody's in their cars. no laughs.
Yeah,
right?
it's very. Well, I'm sure. I feel like they just honk their horns.
In
It's
Gaffigan,
like,
they're not allowed to honk. So
really?
completely in silence, which again, I always say that's why they hired me for the show. I'm used to just moving on after not getting
So
any.
what? Wait a minute. So there were no sounds during the Gaffigan show?
No, nobody was allowed to honk. Just you could maybe flash your lights, and that was about it.
Flash your lights, yeah. Oh,
And you
that's
could honk-
crazy.
You can honk when we came on and left the stage.
Wow.
And here's all our
Yeah, I
friends.
know. Look at that lineup.
Great lineup. We're missing Bonnie, I think, in there. A couple
Yeah.
other folks, but I love this photo. Again, look at that. Look at that. Sky, and
I know.
because I was there. I was at the drive-in that you filmed
Yeah.
it in 2 or 3 months before, seeing Trading Places. That's the only reason I knew that skyline wasn't photoshopped. It's unbelievable.
Juskow, if anybody else said they went to a drive-in to see Trading Places, I have to question them. With you, we just accept some things are just. In fact, the fact that they're showing Trading Places at a drive-in is bizarre to me. It's not the movie you showed at drive-in, but it's almost like they set it up just for you.
That's why I was there, and I felt the exact same way. And the best part is that yesterday the crop reports came out, and it turns out the winter did not hurt the harvest.
Who did you go to see the Trading Places with? Attell? Who did you go with?
I went with Rachel and her husband.
Okay.
Oh,
that's a good old days.
William Stevenson.
Yes, unfortunately, William Stevenson is gone, but it's funny. I mean, here's Noam and Colin performing. They were great. This is the Godfather thing, and Russ and Mateo and Rick Chrome and
This
Lenny,
is the
Mike
part of the show.
McKean.
This is the part of the show where you invited everybody in the cast to come up and take a bow, and Colin and I just stayed seated. I remember that very well.
Yeah.
That's because most of the time you guys took off so quickly. I
Yeah,
couldn't get a hold of you for the pictures. But yeah. So this guy, he's an opera singer, Stefan Seneschal.
Looks like Paul McCartney.
It does.
The what?
Looks like Paul McCartney.
He
Yeah.
does look like Paul McCartney. You're right.
Not to be mistaken for Paul Mercurio.
So he was singing out his window during quarantine, and all I could think about was the that Bugs Bunny cartoon where this guy, and he was getting bothered because I always pick. I think I had heard that it was it Pavarotti? Somebody, one of those 3 tenors used to live across the street from me, and I always pictured that he'd be hearing me in my apartment practicing for when we did Grease or something, and he'd be singing opera and getting really angry
Wow.
and me taking my revenge.
Well, it's like the people on Minetto Lane when there's a line at the Cellar.
Oh God, I can't even imagine living on that street. Although it does look kind of awesome to live there.
You're not supposed to sympathize with them.
I know, but I don't. Do you know what this is? Have you seen this picture?
I
No.
Turd.
This is from the Hubble telescope. It's Wama something. It's an extraterrestrial thing. It's like they say it's a piece. They could be a piece of alien technology. It's from a different solar system, and it's come into ours. But the weird part about it, as soon as I saw this, I couldn't stop thinking of Star Trek 4 and the probe that comes to Earth looking for humpback whales. It's the exact same scenario.
Yeah.
And the weird part is last week, this picture was taken. This is not Photoshop of a humpback whale.
Yes.
The Statue of Liberty.
I saw that.
Right. Which is, again, just like the scene from Star Trek 4, which was when you know everything's falling apart when Star Trek 4 starts becoming.
Dave, I don't know how this is going over to the people watching this, but I want to tell you that whether they like it or not, there's some sort of genius on display here. I mean, this is really amazing. I mean,
I was not sure where that was going, so thank you.
this is a very unique ability you have.
Well, that's what I try and do. I try and make it different than everybody else's show. I do the best I can. And I hope you guys enjoy it. This is from Pan's Labyrinth.
Yes, indeed.
I believe it's called The Pale Man. And somebody made a figure, like they made a sculpture of it so you can buy it. They made a bunch of them for $1,800. But I thought, especially if you look at his teeth and stuff,
Like, I feel
that-
McConnell is
that's right. Looks just like him.
coming. Yeah.
Aw.
There he is.
So this was the explosion in Nashville last week or 2 weeks ago. No, last week, around New Year's, right?
Right.
I find this funny since nobody died except the suicide bomber, that the Hooters got trashed by the explosion. And the first thing I went to, and you follow me on this one. This is from the 1969 film Support Your Local Sheriff. Where they bombed the Bravo. That's the way I figure all the Hooters girls coming out. Of the
Yeah. That movie is very good, by the way.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Support Your Local Sheriff with James Garner and was Jack Elam, is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
And then they did a sequel, Support Your Local Gunfighter. Shows you what James Garner was amazing and really funny.
Yeah, he really was.
That's a great Western before Blazing Saddles, probably the first comic Western that I can think of, 69.
Yeah.
Cat
True.
Baloo, was that the what? Cat?
Cat Baloo was great.
Was that a
I
Western?
don't know that one. Is that a comedy Western too?
Yeah, with Lee Marvin.
Is Nat King Cole in that?
Who?
Ooh,
Is Nat King Cole singing that?
he might. There's a big song, Cat Baloo.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
that's
it.
him.
This was a landslide in Norway, but that car just missed it.
Wow.
But it's like if this was a cartoon, they would be like, phew, I can't believe it just made it. And then this chunk would fall out anyway.
Yeah.
And then when that does, the person in the car says, what a week I'm having. This is the unfortunate part of the show. Serendipity closed.
For good?
Knows the frozen hot chocolate place, Serendipity. I don't know whether it's closed permanently, but today, this closed permanently.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
trying to
Sammy's
keep it open.
Romanian. I've been there. Sammy's Romanian.
Yep. And he
That's
was trying to
terrible.
keep it open. And I guess it just didn't work out. And I used to work as a bookmaker right up here.
Oh.
Italian guys would always be, and we could smell the steak and the Italian guys would always be like, I gotta get me some of that chopped liver. It smells delicious.
Yep.
And here's here's what they serve: the potato latkes, the steak, the schmaltz on the table,
Yes.
the old-fashioned seltzer bottles, and the vodka and a block of ice.
Oh.
Wow.
And then, of course, the chopped liver they make at your table.
That place was legendary, man.
Yeah.
That was the final thing.
Yeah, and it's just getting worse and worse in the city. And I just hope everything somehow. That's the part I just can't figure out. No, I mean, I don't understand why they're not at least opening the restaurants. I don't see how the 25% capacity was hurting anybody. I got a major problem with that. I don't see what the issue is. If they're opening the bowling alleys and Cat Baloo. Oh, Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so hot. What
Yeah.
year did that come out? Thank you, Mike.
I think it was 67 or 68.
Oh, before. Wow, I didn't even realize. That's before Barbarella? Or you think
I don't know. When was Bob? I thought Barbarella was. I don't
That was
know.
around 68.
I'm around
huh?
69.
Cat Baloo. Well, now I
1965.
got to see that one. Really, I'd see anything with Jane Fonda.
1965, you said. Cat Baloo.
65. Wow.
Wow.
I didn't think she was making movies back. Like, that seems pretty early.
She was making movies before that.
I guess so. I guess
She was in all those sex comedy apartment movies, where it's like guys are keeping their boss out of the apartment and, that kind of Fred
Oh, yeah,
McMurray,
yeah.
Jack Lemmon type shit,
Tony Curtis.
Did a few of them.
she certainly is and was pretty. Anyway, like I think, I heard that, somebody said they were going to Bloomingdale's, and I'm like, why?
Why did
why
you
are
say
open-
that at a PFW? No, go ahead.
The what? I don't understand why they they open Bloomingdale's, and that's okay, but you can't open a restaurant. It's problematic for me.
Well,
Go ahead, Colin. I don't know.
no, because Bloomingdale's, the airborne illnesses get killed when they spray that perfume.
There it is. That's what we were waiting for. Yeah, there's no ventilation in there whatsoever. It's awful. In fact, they close it. Do you know how hard it is? I don't know if you've ever been there, how hard it is to get out of that store. I think they do it like Vegas or Atlantic City on purpose. So it's very difficult to find the doorway.
Right.
You can get lost in there a lot. I finally figured out a path, but it took me a long time to figure out that thing. All right, let's have Colin Smith sing a little, play a little number today, if you're ready.
Well,
We'll call it a night.
You know what? Feel free to stop me if the sonic quality of this is less.
Yeah,
than,
we're always prepared for that, the way it's going to be, especially since you're on the phone and not the regular thing. But we'll take our chances.
I'm here. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm staying here for a little longer, and it just reminded me of the song I wrote when this all kicked off. I'll keep it brief, but
Okay.
oh yeah. I miss traffic. I miss being late for shit and blaming it on the train. I took for granted all the inconveniences I never will again. I miss excuses for not taking calls. Now I don't have them at all. These things I noticed from my new focus I got staring at the walls. I miss waiting to order drinks behind the guy who can't make up his mind. And I miss talking shit about him under my breath, but also hashtag be kind. I miss surge pricing at malls and dive bar bathroom stalls. These and other distractions are just part of the action when you're climbing up the walls. Brand new found appreciation, undesired situations come with silver lines. Will it stick around long after? Maybe. I miss seeing people I was trying to avoid, them getting stuck into a chat. And I miss weather, like the wind that makes you annoyed. Tell me what's better than that. I guess we'll see if I recall when the chips fall where they fall. Just how good I had it when I couldn't stand being stuck inside these walls. Oh, just how good I had it when I couldn't stand being stuck inside these walls. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. That was great.
Thanks.
Great.
I don't care for the comment about me ordering drinks and you making fun of me, because it does take me a lot. I can never decide. Well, I just have one other question from a Patreon subscriber. Gabriel Noel wants to know, Noam, he wants to know, and this, I was very interested by this question, if you've ever passed a prop comic at the Comedy Cellar.
Well, I didn't, but we've had we had Frankie Pace was the first one that comes to mind, and then we've had some guitar acts that the highbrow comedians consider them prop acts, and I don't know, any other prop acts, Colin? Hood, yeah. I don't have anything against prop acts if they're funny.
No, I know. No, of course not. But Liz hates the when I had the legendary Wid perform for my birthday. She was so angry. But that's he brings.
I remember that.
All those garbage cans.
He was literally walking in with giant.
I mean, I think he's the greatest, but he does take an hour to set up, and that is problematic if you have 10 comics on the show.
But Frankie Pace was a great act, and I think he was the first stand-up comedian on SNL, right? Like he was
really.
Yes,
yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah, it was a great act.
The first stand-up comedian on SNL, like
like the first episode, or second episode of SNL, Frankie Pace I think was on. Very early.
Really?
Yeah.
What made him a prop comedian? What kind of props did he use?
Horns through his head.
toy piano,
Everything.
pasta. He was one of those guys who brought a big bag of things and like
Yeah.
pull shit out of the bag and look surprised, and as if he was making it up on the spot. He'd have a joke about everything, but he was great. He was a great physical comic on top of it. And I mean, he used to destroy.
Great.
Kill.
Oh, he killed. That's it's hard to follow. Guys, I'm sorry. I have to leave right now.
It's
I'm
okay.
late.
All right, Colin.
Why?
Thank you so much.
I thought it was because I was told it was only a few minutes. I didn't know we were going to be
I
going
did.
late.
I changed the format after I told you. I'm sorry.
All right.
He figured you wouldn't stay. He figured he'd have you roped in, and then you would be too polite to leave.
I would have if I had known the time.
The show
All
is
right.
ending now.
I'll see
That's
you guys
it.
later.
Actually-
Thank you, Colin. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys. Sorry.
See you, Colin.
All right. Well, that's. I was finishing the show anyway. I was just going to ask him if he had anything going on. I mean, nobody
What
does.
kind of producer are you?
Well, I'm a good one. I was able to. I told him we were doing 5 minutes. I was able to keep him for 30. It's
All right.
unbelievable. So,
By the way, do you have any understanding why these restaurants are closing? I don't quite understand it yet. Why they're closing? Who is it that they owe money to that is demanding payment such that they feel that they have to close? I can't figure that out.
I don't.
especially
You know,
if they're
I'm
getting
very
loans from the government.
close with this restaurant next door to me, and I ask them all the time. And I think it might even come from how they order food. You know, and those people clearly have to be paid, and maybe it comes into that. You're right. Nobody's asking for the rent. I don't really know. I just feel bad for a lot of these great restaurants. And then, of course, there's a couple. I have a list of ones I'm so glad they're leaving. It makes me thrilled. That's I wish there was a virus earlier.
I have a suspicion, but I have no idea whether this is true or not, but it makes sense that there are some places, some stores that have way under market rents, leases. Like I would imagine Sammy's, you know, because that was a totally out of the way location, and now it's a kind of hot neighborhood.
Good point.
So if you're a landlord and you have a lease that's at 1/3 market rate or whatever it is, then you're not inclined to play ball with the tenant. Like, pay me, fuck you, pay me, or you got to go. And a lot of times there's personal guarantees, and the landlords don't want to go into that level of personal debt. Otherwise, I can't understand why any landlord would chase a tenant
Good
out.
point. Maybe the laws don't hold true for the way it is for tenants, where nobody can be evicted yet. Maybe it's not the same for.
No, I don't think commercial properties have that protection.
Right. So maybe that's the issue. Anyway,
No,
folks.
I've been curious recently to see if like when are the Domino's going to start tipping for like fine dining and stuff, like, you know, businesses that don't have like an Uber Eats extension of their business, like, you know, when is like Le Bernardin going to close, or, you know, the bigger joints that have literally no, you know, economic.
Well, that's why McDonald's has truly beefed up, so to speak, their Seamless or Grubhub presence. That's new. McDonald's completely delivering because they lost a lot of money at the beginning.
It's like, you know, all those midtown places now. What do you think the lifespan on those places are?
It seems when I see people walking around 6th Avenue where that's located, there were a lot of people around Rockefeller Center this year. I know they can't go inside, but I assume they're I've had pictures on these previous shows where people are eating outside. I mean, I guess they're doing the best they can. I wish they would still at least open for 25%. I think that's the only way these places survive.
No, to 25%, you lose unless you have a big outdoor space on top of it. 25% is a big
Not good
loss
enough.
for most. No, you do 25%, you could lose more money than if you close altogether. I think each thing is complicated. I think some of the big high rolling restaurants own their own buildings. Right. So you could presume maybe they can hold on longer depending on how much money. Everybody seems to be like, banks seem to be playing ball. Landlords, a lot of landlords are playing ball. Like I said, you know, you can't get blood from a stone. So
also having a big, like you said, outdoor space is very helpful. You know, a lot of the Wolfgang's places I know have big structures, but the places that don't have a place like the Rosa Mexicana near me had to close because there was, you know, they're right by the Queensboro Bridge. They had no place they couldn't set up outside. They closed after 30 years.
I mean, we burned through, I'm sure it's $1 million since we've been closed. And some of that we got in loans, but as the loans are written, this money is not forgivable. I'll have to pay it back over time.
Yeah.
But if I had, and then now supposedly they're re-upping with the loans. But let's say the loans stopped and I just didn't pay anybody. I don't really see, like, would my landlord evict me? Why would they evict me? I haven't quite figured it out, because what's in it for him when the pandemic ends? Wouldn't he still want me as a good tenant? Even if I owe him $100,000 in back rent, at least he'll have a prayer of getting it back if he keeps me. If he throws me out, like, go fuck yourself. I'm not paying.
I feel the same in my building. There's 36 open apartments here. Why kick me out when things go back to normal, I'm going to pay again. I agree 100%, but I don't know. I think everybody's feeling the same way, in the sense of even somebody who's asking for your rent or mortgage or whatever it is that you pay is feeling the same crunch.
But that's why I say, like, if I was paying my landlord 1/3 the rent that he thinks he could get, then he'd say, oh, this is an opportunity. Let's get him out of here, because there's another few more months of this, and then we can start making, 3 times the money. So that would make sense to me. And there are a lot of places, there are always a lot of places that have leases which are undervalued. And maybe that's part of what's going on, but I don't claim to understand it all. But I know that one thing, the government hung everybody out to dry by holding up these loans. That's for sure.
True. But maybe everything will change in a few weeks, right? Everything will change. It'll all be okay. I'm very optimistic, because I have to be. Otherwise, I'll kill myself.
I feel like you were leading into a musical number there. And I was like, shit, give me a heads up.
Well, no, we'll try again next week. But folks, thank you so much for joining.
Wait, that's it? It's a short show like this?
It's a short show. It's only a half hour.
I paid for an hour show.
I could make it. I thought it would be better as a half hour. People get bored. I thought you pack in a lot to a half hour.
No, the truth is, you're right.
No, I know you've got a mandolin within arm's reach there. You just grab and
it's better as a short show. But what happens is we get, it's like it's social life. Like, now I got to go back to what? Sorry.
I don't know. I thought this was better. I'd been doing hour shows for 17 weeks, and people were getting annoyed. So I thought,
don't I have to pick football teams now?
No, that's finished. We don't do that
finished.
anymore. This is a new show. I had you on because we want to tell everybody that the Comedy Cellar, which is the best club in the country, I was not paid to say that, will be back at some point when they allow us to. It is the best club. It's so much fun, where the comics are treated amazing and the shows are always top notch. And that's why everyone goes there, because the Comedy Cellar is the best. And we just want to keep the online presence, and all of our friends who have nothing to do, like a Colin Quinn, who actually has probably been the busiest during COVID. We'll go with a book and a movie coming out. But next week, our guest will be Greg Fitzsimmons and Liz Mealy, and I don't think they're doing much. So we welcome.
By the way, before you sign off, over your right shoulder there, I'm just noticing it. I didn't realize it was still there. You know who that silhouette is? Can you tell by looking at it?
Oh, the one behind me? I always wondered who that is. No.
That's Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, I was right.
And the caption is 2 drink minimum.
Shut up. How could I never have known that?
Rick Chrome did a bunch of things like that for us in the 80s. I think it was late 80s. And that's the only one that's still there. He had some big photos blown up, and he put funny captions. Yeah.
That's great. No, yeah. I never knew that. Good trivia.
And Comedy Cellar's been open so long now that there's a whole generation that comes there that doesn't even know who Ted Kennedy is, let alone that he's dead, or it's amazing.
Suppose that's true, but I figure maybe they would know him because you know who John Kennedy is, so you learn that in school, but then nobody's going to school anymore, so it's impossible to tell.
All right, enough of this. We got to go.
Yes. Anyway, next week, remember, join us at 7:00 here on the Comedy Cellar Nightly channel. And as I said, Greg Fitzsimmons, Liz Mealy this week, and Colin Smith will be back for another musical number. Noam, thank you so much for being our first guest this time. And Colin, thank you for, being even in North Carolina and still coming through.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you to Mike, our producer, and we'll see everybody next week. The Comedy Cellar.